Welcome to this presentation on what's new in ITIL version 5. My name is David Billouz, and I am excited to bring you up to speed on what's new and the benefits of these new features. I would like to begin with a quick look at the framework. I realize that this is very basic for many of you, but it's important to remember that from its origin, ITIL has been a people-focused service management framework that successfully enables organizations to manage services to create value for their stakeholders. For decades, organizations have sought to automate and optimize their processes to improve their productivity. During this time, they have come to realize that it is necessary to put the user at the center of this process in order to deliver solutions that achieve the results that the organization expects. Because users have evolving needs and the world of products and services has expanded to include the delivery of digital products and services, ITIL has adapted to those needs, and this is what version 5 is all about. Additions to version 5 include the product and service lifecycle model, the service relationship model, the service journey, digital products and services, digital product and service management, the product and service lifecycle, and the integration with DevOps and Prince2. Okay, let's take a deeper look at each of these concepts. Version 5 introduces us to the new product and service lifecycle model that shows how we go from an idea to a product and then to a service. We talk about how we move from products to services in the form of a model that takes into account this lifecycle. The product and service lifecycle was added to enable organizations to see why, when, and how they can collaborate to deliver better and more efficient products and services. The product and service lifecycle has 8 steps. The steps are designed to make sure that a service provider always knows the needs for the digital products and services they are creating. By knowing the needs, the service provider is sure to address them in time, in full, and at the expected level of quality. Another new element of version 5 is the service journey. The service journey is defined as the interactions that need to be managed between service stakeholders, and it is based on the service relationship model. The service journey is unique in the way that it defines when and why service stakeholders interact. It can be used by service providers and service consumers, and provides a very powerful way to design how to submit an offer to a customer and how to explore services available in a market. The service journey is comprised 7 steps. Each step is an activity based on a service interaction between the service provider and the service consumer. This service journey ensures that the service provider manages products and services that make sense to their consumers. In the diagram, the service journey steps are in sequential order, but in fact, the sequence of the steps is flexible, and you can start at any point. Where you begin depends on the situation. For example, a potential consumer may get offers from different service providers as part of exploring the possible services available in the market. In that example, we start with the offer step, step 3, and then we continue with the explore step, step 1. Next is digital products and services. The focus in version 5 is all about digital products and services. This slide shows the definitions of a digital product and a digital service. The important thing to notice is that digital products combine digital technology resources. For example, the technology of applying networks of elements that allow communication between different systems. Digital services, on the other hand, rely on digital products. In version 5, we learn how to select or use the right digital technology for products and services. Now, we will look at the relationships between digital products and digital services. In version 5, digital services are always based on digital products. You cannot have digital services without digital products. The reason for this is that digital services are made up of digital products. Users use products for their activities, and services are there to make sure that they can use the products properly when needed. In version 5, digital products provide capabilities and service offerings describe potential value. The new thing here is how version 5 clearly shows the role of digital products and services to enable value. The potential value expected from a service is described in the service offering, which describes the why, whereas the product describes how the value can be realized by using the product. Service delivery and consumption begins when the customer accepts the offerings. The customer accepts the offering when the digital products the offering provides are perceived as offering value to the customer. The provision of the service is delivered by the service provider, and the consumption of the service by the users of the service. When we look at the relationship between digital products and services, we see that a product can enable multiple services, and a service can be based on multiple products. This is very helpful because it shows which product teams and service teams must collaborate to make these relationships happen. An example of a product that enables multiple services is an enterprise resource planning (ERP) product. It is used to support the main processes of a plant. Thanks to the ERP product, the plant can utilize multiple services like production planning, manage manufacturing, accounting, and more. An example of a service that is based on multiple products is a smart home security system service. With a smart home security system, the consumer purchases a home security service that incorporates multiple products, like cloud data storage for video footage, a mobile app subscription for real-time alerts, and a professional monitoring service. I hope these examples are helpful. Next, we have the concept of digital product and service management. Digital product and service management is the management of products and services based on organizational capabilities. The key phrase here is organizational capability. Organizational capability is defined as a potential resource that can be used to provide products and services that have not been activated. Instead of investing in new resources to cover any new demand, the service provider can simply activate capabilities on demand, providing a much more efficient and economical solution. This slide shows the concept of the version 5 product and service lifecycle. The product and service lifecycle is how we move from digital products to digital services in version 5. The goal of the product and service lifecycle is to make sure that the customer's needs are included. The lifecycle is comprised of 3 organizations, and you need at least 2 organizations to work together to fulfill the requirements of the third. For example, if Organization B is a service desk that uses a ticketing system provided by Organization A to support the user, Organization C, then Organizations A and B work together on the ticketing system. To ensure that the needs of lifecycle the user, Organization C, are met. The product and service lifecycle is made up of 4 steps. The first step is capturing and processing customer requirements and getting feedback from the customer. The second step is designing the digital products and services to meet these requirements. The third step is acquiring the necessary resources to be able to create the services and products. The fourth step is providing the services on the basis of the products. The last areas to explore are the integration of ITIL with DevOps and Prince2. Let's begin by looking at ITIL and DevOps. The formal integration of ITIL with the DevOps toolchain is important for several reasons. First, ITIL provides the structure and governance for managing digital products and services, while DevOps offers practical methods that enable rapid, continuous development and operation. Second, ITIL defines how value is created and managed across the service value system. And DevOps enhances execution through automation, collaboration, and fast feedback. Together, they help organizations balance stability with speed and deliver more resilient, adaptive, customer-focused services. As organizations advance their digital capabilities, combining the ITIL framework with DevOps practices has become essential for accelerating development and improving operations. DevOps offers detailed techniques that support lifecycle activities such as discover, design, acquire, build, transition, and operate. When paired with ITIL, it forms a comprehensive approach to digital product and service delivery. The reason Prince2 was formally integrated with ITIL is because Prince2 provides structured, flexible methods for managing projects, programs, and portfolios, while ITIL offers the operational framework for creating, delivering, and improving digital products and services. Prince2 provides the detailed guidance required with its comprehensive, globally recognized body of knowledge. For example, the practice guides introduce project and portfolio management within the service value system, but practitioners often require more detailed guidance, and this is where Prince2 comes in. In summary, we can say that all three frameworks share the foundational principles of focusing on value, progressing iteratively with feedback, and collaborating in a transparent and collaborative way. Prince2 certifications for Agile project, program, and portfolio management. And certifications from the DevOps Institute for Agile, continuous product development and operation offer powerful extensions to the ITIL framework. These certifications enable managers and practitioners to deliver changes of various scale and velocity, which is increasingly critical in modern digital-first environments. For ITIL professionals, branching into these complementary domains deepens operational versatility and positions them as strategic enablers of end-to-end value creation across the organization, and that is included in ITIL version 5. Thank you for joining me in the presentation on what's new in version 5. I hope you have enjoyed this presentation on what's new in ITIL version 5 and look forward to seeing you in one of our new version 5 classes. If you have any questions or I can help in any way, please contact me using the Ask the Instructor a Question box to the left of the videos on the course page.